Well, listeners, welcome back to Subculture After Dark. We've got something very, very special for you right now because Despise You are coming to Australia for the very first time with their good friends Chuff, and we thought, what better way than to find out a little bit more about this tour than to actually get one of the members of Despise You on the phone right now. Welcome to the program, Chris.
Thanks for having me.
No problem, mate. Now, how does this feel for you, coming to Australia for the first time? This must be something that you guys have been wanting to do for a long time.
Yeah, we've always talked about it. It's just, the cost of it is something to consider,
Yeah.
And then find someone that seemed like to be a reliable person that could book shows that wouldn't get canceled or messed around with. So Dead Set Records reached out and we were talking for a little bit, and then we started doing it like that, and that guy booked all the shows, and we're not there yet, but so far so good.
Have you been aware of your Australian fan base over the years? Because you've got such a dedicated fan base here. Have you been aware of that?
Yeah, well, see, we used to get a lot of orders from Australia, but then a few years back, they really jacked up the shipping cost.
Yep.
And the orders kind of stopped. So I knew we had people over there that liked us. Liked us enough to buy shirts and stuff off of us, but it just got too unaffordable. We sell our shirts for, at that time they were $10, and the shipping was maybe $8.
Yeah.
And now the shirts are $15, and the shipping's $26 or something. So it's way more just to ship it than the cost of the shirt, and same kind of goes for the records and stuff too. So back in the day they used to have you could do a surface mail option, and I think it traveled by boat a little bit, and then
yep,
and then got on trucks when it got to your port. But it just went crazy with the shipping. And But back to what you were asking, we definitely used to get a lot of orders from Australia. So we knew people.
Yeah, well, we can't wait. I know so many people who are so excited about these shows because for my generation, a lot of us grew up listening to your music, and I think that, in a sense, is going to have a lot more people coming out to the shows. And I was going to ask you about that. With your shows now and with the band being around for 30 years, do you notice now that there's a second and third generation of fans coming through?
Yeah, there's when we play, there's a lot of teenagers that are at the shows. We've always had that young fan base, or I guess you want to call it, or people that would come see us, and it just kind of recycles itself or something. I don't know, we'll go play some shows or play LA. We're playing LA a couple shows this or next month, and yeah, they're always all ages. So we'll have 14, 15, 16-year-old people at the shows, and that's cool.
Yeah.
I've shows where it's an older band. I don't really feel like we're an older band, but then the crowd is very old. They didn't get passed down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think we do have that.
If someone had said to you 30 years ago that Despise You would still be around in 2023 and making a trek to Australia for a tour, what would you have said to them?
I wouldn't have believed it. I wouldn't have believed most of the things we did, because there was never any plan to go play in other places outside of maybe LA.
Yep.
So it just wasn't on the radar. I never none of us ever were thinking about going to Europe or Australia or Japan or wherever,
Yep.
And it just kind of happened. It just happened that we toured the U.S. some different spots, and then we went to Canada, and then it goes to Mexico, or it just keeps going further out, and now we're going about the fucking furthest we can get, So yeah, so we're I'm I'm excited to go. I mean, I don't really know what all to expect. You know, like we don't know a ton about the scene over there or anything. So, but yeah, I think it should be good. You know, I think we're playing a mix of smaller and medium-sized places. That's cool. You know.
Yeah, well, apparently we've got some of the rowdiest fans in the world. A lot of people that come here to play comment on the fact that they see things happen with Australian crowds that they've never seen before. Are you guys kind of prepared for that?
Well, we come from LA, so I think we're accustomed to it.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. You know, just yeah.
Is there anything that you guys are looking forward to doing away from the stage while you're here? Like, is there any bucket list items that you want to do while you're in Australia?
Fuck, we haven't really talked about it. I don't know.
Cool. Yeah, no, just
maybe some of like.
Yeah, go ahead.
He did stuff at, or we're all big. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't really.
Awesome. Well,
I guess I mean, it's like when you're on tour. It's like when you're on tour and you play every day, you don't really get to do much. You know, like you don't really be much. You know, like it's kind of like you got to start driving. You know, like or whatever, or flying. You know.
Yeah. I wanted to go back to the very start for you guys as well. You guys have got such a distinctive sound, and you're known for being one of the hardest bands in LA at the time. What was those early years like for you guys when you were first starting out and trying to getting gigs in the local scene in LA?
Shit. Well, you know, besides me, everybody was in other bands. You know, so. We would just get together when we had time, but when we got together, we seemed to be able to write a ton of stuff. So, yeah, it just like I don't know. I mean, it was I don't even know. It was easy to write music with all those guys, you know. And now the lineup's different now, you know, but it's that's how it was in the older days. And then what was going on in LA at that time was just LA was in a down point at that time with the violence and all the stuff that was going on. And that's when we wrote most of those songs for West Side Horizons. And now LA is a little bit in the same type of situation right now. So it's peaks and valleys in the city, you know, and the early 90s to the mid 90s when all that stuff was being written and the area was being written and was a little bit touch and go all the time, you know.
Yeah.
So
do you find that the way that the world is today that you still get inspiration with what's going on when you sit down to write music?
From like I've always all the lyrics have been personal stuff, you know. Like it doesn't matter what the politics or any of that shit's going on. Like we've never written a political song, you know. Like
yeah,
and I won't because like I know what I like. I just know how I feel. I'm not interested in, you know, like the politics, the religion. Everybody can do whatever they want, you know. That's not my.
Yep.
I'm not a preacher. You know what I mean? People can believe in God. They can vote independent. They can do whatever. It just doesn't bother me at all. So I don't try to get any. I don't have a message to get across for politics.
Yeah.
All I do is talk about shit that happened with me.
Yeah.
You know, and that way it can't be right or wrong. You could be pissed off about it or sad about it. That's what happened. So however it makes you feel, that's how it makes you feel, you know.
And I think writing from the heart like that as well means that there's a lot of people out there that can relate to your music. Do you have a lot of people come up to you and say that a certain track has got them through a tough time, or they can relate to what you're talking about in one of the tracks?
It's happened a lot, yep. And the first couple times it happened, I really understood that it's important. Like it's super important to some people,
Yeah.
So I never take it for granted, and I always like to talk to those people, like it's happened a bunch after shows, or people start talking to me, and I've heard some really heavy stories, man, that make the people getting emotional, and I don't really know what to do other than, give them a hug or shake their hand or something, and just talk to them for a minute, or a few minutes, however long they need. So, but yeah, it happens, and I it's very humbling, and I appreciate the way they feel about something that I said several years ago.
Definitely. Well,
Yeah.
Well, Chris, thank you so much for the music that you have given us over the years. Like I said, there's a lot of people out there that here in Australia that love your music and have been inspired by your music. And I guess to finish off the interview, what would you like to say to people out there who are heading along to check you guys out with Chuff in May?
But we're gonna play a shitload of songs and bring it every night, and come up and bullshit with us during and after the shows. We want to talk to everybody and hang out with everybody.